Hi there, it's Deborah Irene, and it's time for another story. Last week, I read you a baseball story that was entitled The Way We Were from my book, Someday I Will Write. And I mentioned when I was finished reading that story that I had written a subsequent story that included some events when the Royals made it to the postseason 30 years later. I had not planned on reading that story this soon, but since the home opener, which is being held, would have been held later today, is also postponed, I heard that MLB and the Royals are going to be streaming a game from the American League Championship Series in 1985. And I happened to be at that game. And I'm anxious to watch the replay. Since I watched it live, I didn't get to see all of those replays that you see on television. So I hope to be able to see those, and I plan on watching it later. I want to read you my story about that. Again, it's from my book, Someday I Will Write, and this story is chapter 47, and this one is entitled The Way We Are. I remember what I wore: soft corduroy plum slacks, a multicolored sweater vest, a plum tweed with a royal blue wide patch of threads running through it. This silky royal blue blouse tied it all together. My mother was happy to watch our 4-month-old son while we enjoyed a rare evening out. First stop was the restaurant at the high-rise hotel across the street from the stadium. Great seafood that night. It was a crisp October evening, and I couldn't have been more pumped. It was exactly where I wanted to be, and the only thing I wanted to do right then. I had planned for it carefully. With a little luck, my dream was unfolding. The year was 1985. The stadium rocked every night during the regular season. It was difficult to buy tickets except for Upper Deck in advance, and many games were sold out. I dreamed of someday affording season tickets, but we were starting careers and had a large mortgage. Money was allotted for our home, and that was the right thing to do. So, several times a year, I purchased Upper Deck tickets, and a couple of times a year, I was lucky enough to use company season tickets or to be treated by a friend who had the same. I loved baseball and loved the Royals. I remember the Royals' first appearance in the World Series, 1980. My boss was given a corporate suite to fill and use. I watched as my senior coworker walked out the door early that one day. She was selected to go. She cared nothing about baseball, and I wondered if she even knew which team the Royals were playing that evening. Oh well, I watched from home and accepted that seniority and age come with privileges. After all, I was a young, confident 20-something whippersnapper and would have many more opportunities. She was 60-something. 5 years later, when the postseason rolled around, I decided I would see if I could buy tickets and not depend on someone to treat me. Things were done differently in those days. I remember sending a check, or possibly money order, in the mail with a request for the American League Championship Series. You were permitted to request only one, either World Series or League Championship Series. There were no guarantees, and selection was random. Since our track record was not good to actually get to the World Series, usually because of the Yankees, I opted for the League Championship Series and waited. I can assure you that I crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. I was elated when I received an envelope in the mail with 2 tickets instead of a refund. Upper Deck down the line between first base and right field, Game 3. Friday, October 11, 1985. Little did I know the historic game I would be privileged to see. I remember one of the players saying at a pep rally before the series started to never give up. If the team loses a game or two, don't give up on us. We'll be back. I think that was Hal McRae. Well, that was prophetic. The Royals dropped the first two games in Toronto but came home to a hungry hometown. And George Brett delivered the game of his life. It was a thrilling win to witness. George went 4 for 4 with 2 home runs, and the Royals won 6-5. The Royals chant echoed through the spiral ramp on the way out. Let's go Royals. Everyone knew that finally it was our turn to win it all, and we did. I watched the remainder of the postseason games on television. We did not expect it to be the last World Series win, and we certainly didn't expect 1985 to be our last postseason appearance for 3 decades. Life goes on. I had 2 more sons, and yes, they all played baseball. The focus was on their game while the Royals struggled and struggled and struggled. We attended a few games a year, what we could manage around their own baseball schedules, but they didn't know the excitement of those winning years. Company tickets were easier to come by. Fast forward to September 18, 2014. I'm sitting at my computer in a virtual window waiting for my chance to buy postseason tickets. My middle son explained how it works now. I don't know if I will actually buy if the opportunity opens up. I know they will be expensive and the choice is limited. The telephone rings. It's my youngest son, frustrated that the site isn't working properly and wondering if I can drive out to the stadium to purchase tickets for him since he's 3 hours away. I decline. He laughs when he finds out I'm going through the same thing and says, "You are my mother." My oldest son, living far away in another state, is still a loyal Royal and wonders if anyone's getting tickets. In about a half hour, I learned that the youngest finally succeeded in purchasing 2 tickets, as did the middle son, both upper deck. I hope they get to use them and get to feel the excitement that I felt 29 years ago. The Let's Go Royals chant has meaning this year for the first time in their lifetime. It's been a fun season, and it ain't over till it's over. That's what Yogi always said. I haven't told them yet, and they haven't asked, but Mom splurged. She has 3 tickets and pretty darn good seats in the lower level just in case. After all, seniority and age come with privileges. And then the second section of this chapter is entitled Winners. The names are Gordon, Butler, Shields, Holland, Perez, Hosmer, Aoki, Escobar, Infante, Dyson, and Duffy, to name a few. They didn't believe the bad report that they were destined to lose. They played like they knew they could win. Sure, there were ups and downs, but they never acted like losers. Now for a few other present-day names: Moustakas, Davis, Herrera, Kane, Ibanez, Vargas. And let me say, it warmed my heart to see Guthrie interpret for Ventura during an interview after a clutch win last week, teammate for teammate. Yesterday, I traveled out of town for a weekend of activities surrounding a high school reunion in southern Missouri. I really did plan to live in the moment and leave my phone tucked away in my purse. But a friend honed in on the game on television in Kansas City, starting texting me little nubs about the game. So I couldn't resist, and I checked scores for myself, alternating between the Royals playing the White Sox in Chicago and the Tigers playing the Twins. Holy moly, our magic number was down to 1. This could be the night. After the football game, we gathered at a local classmate's house for more socializing. One television was already turned on, a Cardinals baseball game. I mentioned to the host that I was checking the score of the KC game, so he tried to find it, but to no avail. Oh, yeah, we are in Cardinals Nation this far south. How could I forget? By now, anyone and everyone knows that those boys in blues did it. We have secured, at the very least, a wild card spot. It would have been nice to see that celebration live, like George Brett. Was he excited or what? I watched the replays this morning. Wild card? No, that wasn't around in 1985. Heck, Slugger wasn't even born until 1996. Wild card, division champs, it's all postseason. There's a chance my sons will get to use their Upper Deck Game 1 tickets. This year, for the first time in many, many years, there was a new song in the house. Don't Stop Believin' replaced Friends in Low Places. The fans picked it. That makes me go, The new thing I see this morning, we're gonna party like it's 1985. I like that too. For the first time in 29 years, life for the Royals and their fans, this one included, continues on. Then the next section is called October's Still Blue. To the surprise of many, it's still Blue October. After we secured a postseason spot, I celebrated a royal lunch with one of my sons in Cardinals Nation. We wore blue proudly. The Royals won the wild card game, and in dramatic fashion, coming from behind, stealing bases and smashing those timely hits, the hometown crowd erupted when the game-winning hit skipped sharply past the third baseman near the line. Fair ball! That night, life in Kansas City went up a notch. There were celebrations in living rooms, mine included, at watch parties in social establishments, and in workplaces that could not shut down. As the Royals manager well stated, the players didn't quit and the fans didn't quit. The team hit the road to play the first 2 games of the division series in California. Personally, I thought if we could win 1 game, it would keep us in contention. In my wildest dreams, I didn't imagine the team returning to Kansas City with a 2-game lead and itching to sweep. I gathered my gear for that first home game. My sons and I tailgated with a few friends. The parking lots were crowded, people were friendly, and we all were there to witness a common goal unfold. It was a spectacular sunny afternoon, a blue October sky. The aroma of every kind of barbecue item you can imagine was in the air. Hatchbacks were wide open, music strummed along, fans shared food and drink, and we watched the Chiefs on television from the tailgate next door. Time quickly passed. My son brought a broom, along with many other hungry fans. We scattered to our seats, armed with rally rags, and allowed plenty of time to get situated for the opening ceremonial rituals associated with an important game such as this. I agree with a friend who said the flyovers give me chills each and every time. The visiting Angels silenced the home crowd with a first-inning home run, but the home team Royals took control and did not relinquish the lead once attained. Again, the boys in blue would not quit. Hit after hit, play after play, they did not disappoint their fans. The visiting team went home, and the Royals and their fans partied like it was 1985. We were division champions, and I got to witness it. "Let's go Royals" echoed through the spiral ramp down, just like in 1985. Let's go Royals. Fans hugged strangers. It was a night to remember, and it would not be the last. As we moved to the American League Championship Series, tickets were hard to find. But my excitement did not diminish as I watched from afar. Rally rag, rally beads, and hope prevailed. The first two games were in Baltimore, and I left for a sister's weekend getaway and watch party at a nearby resort. All of us were ready to cheer on our Royals. The truth is, we might have been a little rowdy, but we weren't alone. Strangers from two wedding parties left their groups to join us in the library bar when we were asked to leave the more formal dining room. Hey, we tried to go there to begin with, but the doors were closed. We were simply looking for a TV and a little food. Management decided to open it. I love the t-shirt I wore, "Party Like It's 1985. Why doesn't someone write the song? Why don't I write the song?" Well, someone else did, and I couldn't have said it better. Who would have dreamed this as the season began early last spring? We won the wild card game, swept the division series, and swept the league series. It really did happen. I don't think anyone cared that we were all sleep deprived following many extra inning games. I watched the final game in my living room. Pinch me. Now we wait a little longer. I'm catching up on laundry because my closet is depleted of anything blue. World Series tickets are impossible to obtain, especially at face value. At this point, it's a rich man's game. It's not so bad. I can experience the thrill from afar. This is so good for our city, and I couldn't be prouder of our team. I can remember 1985 as memories are made in 2014. For almost 30 years, I tried to convey the excitement, the camaraderie, the full stadium, the good old days to my sons. Now they know, they have experienced it. It's happening in their lifetime. Boys, it really is real. One final note, lest someone be swift to judge and think that I'm concerned and way too excited over such a temporal thing. Please know that I rejoice every day that my name's written down in the Lamb's Book of Life. I am thankful for life, breath, health, and a job. I pray that the entire world can live in peace. But for right now, please, let me enjoy this ride a little bit longer. And the last little blog that was written and put in this book, I called Bluesy October. Someone asked me over the weekend if I had recovered from baseball. My answer, I'll be okay in a couple days. It helped to watch the Party Like It's 1985 video a few times. That always brings a smile to my face. Our city is royal proud as American League champions. Now it's day 7 after the disappointing loss, and since everyone else has managed to move on, including the Royals as a team, I suppose it's time for me too, after these final thoughts. So Blue October ended up being a little bluesy. I thought for sure we had the team of destiny like the Miracle on Ice in 1980. We were headed for a fairy tale ending. But at the last minute, the crown jewels slipped away. I'm not normally superstitious, but started a ritual with our winning streak by rubbing Salvi's bobblehead each morning. The mornings I rubbed his head, we won. If I forgot, we didn't. This ritual was successful up until Game 7. In reality, you win some and you lose some. Also, there was the disappointment of not being able to purchase tickets at face value for the World Series. I contemplated scalper pricing, even up to 2 hours prior to game time for Game 7. But I sensed the spirit of Dave Ramsey sitting on my shoulder, my right shoulder, whispering, "What are you thinking? This isn't in your budget, and you can see it so much better in the comfort of your own home. Save your money for that emergency. Be practical. What I really wanted was to be in the middle of the excitement, like someone I met recently. By trade, he is a professional photographer whose goal is to shoot in every sports venue in the USA. But I happen to think he's a fantastic storyteller. He was at Game 6 and wrote an incredible story about his adventure traveling from Pittsburgh to Kansas City. He encouraged me to go ahead and splurge on that ticket to Game 7, but I couldn't pull the trigger. You might understand my bit of regret if you read some of his stories about seizing the moment. At least I have my memories of the division championship game. Undoubtedly, there will be a few changes when next year rolls around. All of Kansas City will hope and now anticipate another Royals run. But 2014 will be a special year to remember. What a ride. Boys, please don't wait another 30 years because I'll be dead. Maybe it's time for seniority and age to invest in a reasonable portion of season tickets. That I will ponder. But for now, a few leaves remain on the trees. There's barely enough time to tend to those apples that have been patiently waiting. The cross-stitch project sits in a bag in the corner. It's the grateful season followed by the joyful season of giving, and ringing in a new year. We'll remember our loves and celebrate the resurrection with some birthdays scattered between. I am reminded there is life after baseball, and it will be okay. And until the next crack of the bat, life continues on. So these were a consolidation of 3 blogs written and posted in September, October, and November of 2014. We partied like it was 1985, and I blogged and blogged and blogged about it. I did what I was told at the Writers' Conference in 2010, blog about what's going on in your life. And the next year, 2015, the Royals, in fact, won it all again after 30 years. Thanks for listening to this baseball story today. And if you are free and available, I believe it starts at noon Central Time. MLB and the Royals are streaming it. You can watch that Game 3 of the American League Championship Series that I was privileged to be at in 1985. I'm looking forward to watching it. And then I've been told as well that they're going to play that wild card game from 2014. I think that's going to either stream, will be across some media as well. I think that is going to be on maybe Friday. So thank you for listening to Storytime today, and I hope that you've enjoyed just a little bit of break from your routine. Stay safe, be careful, and take care.